Hey, welcome to TYT Sports, everybody. Ben and Francis and Jason here. So, you know, it's a great week for you when you sign a 5-year, $70 million extension to continue to play professional sports. And it's the second best thing to happen to you that week. That is, but that's what happened to the Broncos wide receiver Demaryius Thomas, who signed that 5-year, $70 million contract, avoiding free agency. He'd been given the franchise tag. He signed the deal just under the deadline to continue on with the Broncos, and it came a couple of days after his mother, who's been in a federal prison since 2000. So after 15 years in a federal prison, will be released in the fall, a result of retroactively applying new federal sentencing guidelines that lowered by 2 levels her offense, so she's able to get out. I think she gets out in November. His grandmother also went to prison in the same case. They were selling crack cocaine out of Thomas's home in Georgia, but the grandmother is considered a repeat offender or a lifetime offender, habitual offender, and the sentencing guideline changes don't apply to her. There's Demaryius Thomas's mother. She is 42 years old now. Her name is Katrina Smith. His grandmother, Minnie, will remain locked up. I presume they'll work on getting her out, but these new sentencing guidelines don't apply to her. She'd need an actual pardon.
Demaryius Thomas's mother was in prison. They didn't let her watch the games of her son. Obviously, there's the privileges in prison that you do not have. Interestingly, the one game they did air for the inmates of that prison was the Super Bowl, where Demaryius Thomas lost to the Seahawks.
Yeah, so
43.
It's going to be interesting. She's going to get out, I think, in time for a Week 10 game against Kansas City, but she's going to be like, nah, it's okay, I'm good. Pass.
You can watch it on TV.
This doesn't end well. Yeah, I'm going to sit it out. Yeah, so, you know, look, it's great news. You know, I mean, 46 nonviolent federal drug offenders released early is not enough, but it's a great start.
Yeah. Well, there was a quote actually from Demaryius Thomas, as you mentioned. Obviously his wishes came true, because before the NFL free agency, he was quoted, and many people shared that across Twitter. He said, "Money don't make me." And then you're saying the money that he just got. So it's a lot of money to make someone as well. But then he said, hopefully this year my mom will get at least get out and get in a halfway house and come home. My main thing is trying to get her out of prison, and whatever the contract is, of course, it will help. Well, I'm sure it will help, because how much did you say?
It's 5 years, $70 million.
Wow. That's some pocket change. And yeah. I'm delighted when I get a Starbucks for free.
He was going to get it from somebody, and he gets it, and he'll remain with the Broncos. Be interesting to see who the quarterback is after this season. Presumably Peyton Manning's last. Don't know for sure, but one would presume.
Does it lift his game now that he's got the most important? Well, I know whenever my mum used to come watch my games, obviously be at a different level and a different sport in general, it would always lift my game.
Is that right?
Yep.
My mom, I think, came to maybe one game. My dad was at a lot of games. My mom did not. Was not a regular attender of games. No, look, Demaryius Thomas has a reputation as a hard worker. He had it throughout high school and into college of sort of, you know, and the one thing that happens to many professional athletes, you get that big deal, and some of it's guaranteed. In football, not all of it. So, but you know, you get the big money and you coast a little bit. His reputation from the moment his mom and grandmother who were raising him went away, and he ended up being raised by his father's, I think, sister and her husband. So an aunt and uncle. They were very, very strict, and he was out picking vegetables at 6 o'clock in the morning, and he went to church school on Wednesday nights, and he was going to church every Sunday, and he was like, you did it. There was no alternative, and he worked and worked and worked on the football field, became a great player, got himself a job here in the NFL, and now is one of the 2 or 3 elite receivers in the league, maybe the best receiver in the league, certainly one of the top receivers.
Yes, arguably one of the top.
So my hunch is this contract, he stays, you know, pretty good. You know, then it's simple health. He's only 27. Wide receivers can easily still be effective at 32.
Right.
More so than running backs. So this is a guy who could be productive for all 5 years of that contract. But you would think you'd get, certainly, you know, if he keeps at it, 3 or 4 years out of it.
Well, that's why I just think it's important that the Broncos signed him for the rest of his prime. His best years of football are going to come in the next 5 years, and him being a staple to that, you need a downfield threat. That's what he is. So when Peyton Manning's gone, they're simply just preparing for the future without Peyton by signing the one guy that they know will be their best offensive weapon through the ages of 32.
Be really interesting to see who their quarterback is. But, you know, who knows? When Peyton may be, you know, may throw 50 touchdown passes this year and play again in 2 things. I think he's
going to be 39.
39.
I mean, the interesting thing about that, though, is that the new rules that come into play about how the quarterback really can't be touched anymore it's going to be interesting to see how long Tom Brady and Peyton Manning go for. Are they going to retire at this age, or are they going to play till they're 45 years old?
Yeah, I don't. Look, Peyton at the end of the last 7 games last season was at best, and almost every statistical analysis, at best, an average quarterback.
Yeah, his arm is
an amazing 10 games.
It's an underwhelming arm.
You can be untouched, but if you went through that amount of years in such a competitive league,
a big neck surgery.
Yeah, and some surgery like that as well is like.
Look, he gets hit. You can't, right? I mean, you're.
That happens in football. You get hit.
Yeah. So, but
your football, they flop.
So we got to see this year whether Peyton Manning, whether those, when you get to be 39 years old or 38 years old, whatever he was last year, and you have that big a decline, it might have been due to an injury that's recoverable that you just needed time for, or it might be, oh look, it's just happening. This is it. He's reached a point where he's at best average, in which case, he may not finish the year. Who's their backup? The kid from. Osweiler from Arizona State. Yeah.
What age did I always ask this, and I always forget? What age did Brett Favre play until again?
About 41.
Yeah, past 40. But
he's not the oldest.
And again,
history, right?
Peyton Manning, same thing with Brett Favre. I mean, Brett Favre's second to last year was magical, right?
The Vikings or the Jets?
It was terrific. It was the Vikings. 1 year. It was magical, and then and he was like, great, another year, and you're like, oh. And he looks like he's done. Yeah. Like it can happen in almost every sport. Yeah. When you're that age, it can happen. It's not always a gradual decline. That's why in basketball, that's why what's happening with Tim Duncan is so remarkable. Is that a couple of years ago you thought, oh, we're starting to see it, and then no, not really.
Not when you have a coach like Pop who can monitor your minutes and make sure that you're going to play a lot.
Yeah, but even when he goes out there and plays back-to-back in a playoff series, or when he's playing 34, 35 minutes a night, he's still
averaging
at the end of it, he's down 10% from his
rookie
elite
season.
level.
His prime level.
The thing that's interesting about that is I love to talk about this in terms of my football as well, is you get players that play until their latter ages, but the thing that you have with flexibility in football, my football, is you can kind of move positions. So one of the most notorious examples is Ryan Giggs, now a coach for Manchester United. He was very effective from his age, his late 30s, because they moved him into the middle and he took more of a conceded role, didn't drive up and down the wing like you needed that engine. I can't imagine Peyton Manning's going to be like, all right, 39, I'm going to try it receiver for a little bit just to keep playing.
That's right.
See if I'm good at it.
Yeah, that's true. That doesn't happen in the NFL. That does not happen. It happens a little bit on defense. You see cornerbacks moving to safety to prolong their career.
Terrell Pryor just moved from quarterback to wide receiver.
Yeah, but
he's younger. He's much younger.
He was also never effective as a quarterback.
That's also true.
So, but they do. But it does happen there in the defensive backfield. That is the one spot where that does happen.
All
right. Let us know what you guys think. Comment section below. Demaryius Thomas, his mother getting out now. So, what do you guys think in the comment section below?
Let his grandmother out. Come on, she's 59. Yeah. I got it. Career offender. It's drugs. It's nonviolent. Let's go. Wrap it up. She's been there. It's long enough. How about this? At 65, you get out. That's just it. You get out. Unless you commit the crime at 50, in which case it's 70. You don't want to incentivize 55-year-olds to commit crimes. Right? But
would you be counting down the days?
It's enough. It's nonviolent. Let her go. Let her go. Her name's Minnie. How bad could she be?
You've heard it here.